Greetings, sci-fiction awesomeness. My name is Owen C. Cotter, and you are watching SciFiction. We are digitally simulcasting on Facebook, X, YouTube, Twitch, and on Subspace Radio Network, which airs on Wednesday evenings. So check that out as well. Today, here in just a little bit, about 10-15 minutes, we're going to have an amazing couple of guests. We have Timo Vuorensola. He is the director of an amazing film called Altered, starring Tom Felton and Elizaveta Bugulova. I think I pronounced his name. I'll have that right in front of me. Her name is Liza. She's an amazing actress as well. Film takes place in a post-1962 Cuban Missile Crisis alternate universe in the future. And I'll let Timo tell you a little bit more about that story, as he directed and worked on it heavily with all the actors. So let them be brought on shortly. Before we start the broadcast, I want to go into some of the news items that we have that are on the grid. We just got back from Las Vegas, Nevada, where we covered two events. One was Designer Con, and the other event was a film festival called Shock Fest Adventure, which is their last one, Exit Strategy, their 18th year of Shock Fest. So that is really cool. And they have a lot of stuff going on with the horror, fantasy, sci-fi, a little bit of everything. Her last name is Bugulova, by the way, Liza Bugulova, and Timo Vuorensola. That is the director and actress that will be joining us here shortly. They are, he's, I believe, a Finnish director. He's done also, if you're not familiar with Timo, he's done a couple of films back in the day. It's not his first rodeo of sci-fi. He did a little film called Iron Sky and its sequel. So if you know Iron Sky, that's some good stuff too. But I'm going to let him talk about his new film Altered here, which is really cool. But go over the news items here real quick. We have on the first roster some Disneyland news. Fortnite gets a Disneyland Game Crush, delivers authentic theme park thrills. The list of all the Stream Fest, all the things you can stream in December for your sci-fi watch list for the holidays. The Terminator 2D No Fate game is delayed again. It won't be coming out until December 12th. I think it's something to do with distribution of the product or something with the packaging. Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 is set for a January 2026 premiere. Lego Star Trek USS Enterprise NCC 1701D Galaxy class Lego Starship has been announced for November, and then Mass Effect TV series charting a new course after Shepard. So they're going to have a new Mass Effect television series. It's not going to exactly take place with Shepard. It's going to be a totally different story within the Mass Effect universe. I want to go over some other things before we bring on our guests. We also will be coming to you in January. It's looking like possibly Fan Expo New Orleans. February, there may be two events now we're looking at on the horizon. And then you have March, will probably be somewhere down in Mississippi, hopefully. And then let's see, April, maybe back to Las Vegas. There's an event we're looking at there. May, maybe a little break because early May is the beginning of May is my birthday. May go take a little relaxation. June, July, August, and September all have items. And there's all kind of stuff being brought up on the map that we're being invited to. We're thankful for that. And you, the fans, bringing you, the fans, all the quality content that you deserve. So we've got the news items there. I want to bring up the site right quick for Altered and show the trailer so people can get familiar with what the film's about. So hold on just a second to replace screen sharing. We're going to go to the Altered website, which is weillgousa.com/film/altered. Here's the trailer, so everybody sit tight.
I think I got an idea.
Hell yeah!
Okay, so we messed up. But the world didn't end. We rebuilt it better. For some. The genetics. Genetically improved humans that live like kings. Then there's the specials. Although there's nothing special about us.
Proposition 42 enables genetic enhancements for everyone.
6
triple.
Deal.
Triple free. We don't go to the genetic district.
Trust me. It'll be in, out, boom.
Today's attack by the extremist anti-genetic squad is the bloodiest so far.
They're trying to frame the specials.
Well, we gotta do something then.
Let her go! He's the one behind all of this.
We've cracked the enigma of human evolution.
Question is, what are we gonna do about it?
We're gonna fight.
Bring it! They want you to think that you're useless, worthless. It's not true!
It's evolution and you can't stop it.
That is the trailer for Altered that we will be talking with the director and Liza, one of the main actresses who plays Chloe, here shortly in the broadcast. For people just joining us, my name is Owen C. Cotter. You're watching SciFiction, digitally streaming on all channels, X, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and if you're listening to this on Subspace Radio Network, this will air most Wednesday nights, evenings, and simulcasted on our social medias. We have got a major galactic bugs here, not Starship Troopers, but he's been flying around here for a bit. Got to get some laser beams on him. But we have joining us here in just shortly the director. If you're not familiar with him, we're going to go over a little bit of what he does when we bring him on the show. He's done several sci-fis before Altered, as well as Iron Sky, which is a super cool franchise. There's 2 films of that. There's also a sequel. But today we'll be talking about his new film, Altered. Altered, was going over some of the plot, is set in a post-apocalyptic future that has been rebuilt. And we'll let him tell more on the overview of the story on that. We will be coming to you from, we've got a lot of events and there's things. We just got back from Designer Con in Las Vegas, Nevada. If you've never been to Designer Con, this year was the 20th anniversary of Designer Con. And I'm going to go over some stuff here shortly. Let me bring up something right quick on the screen where I can show you this. Designer. We got all kind of music and goodies. That's Designer Con. What I want to show you is, here it is, right here. Here's some Designer Con goodies that we have here on the broadcast. We bring the screen up here, Designer Con goodies. Designer Con goodies, here we go. So this is just some sneak early previews of what we did at Designer. We also interviewed the CEO, Ben, super cool dude, and they had an amazing event, the 20-year anniversary this year. And yes, Francisco is on the horn. He's having trouble with the chat in YouTube, it sounds like. Try Facebook, Francisco, or just send me you got a messenger there. Send me one there, and we'll feature your comment on the broadcast. Francisco's a good friend of mine. He loves the broadcast, and I've got several people chiming on the side here as well, packing in the questions. This is a guy. They have a company called Scum Pit Toys. This is actually their take on Castle Grayskull. This is like a Mechanic and some other creatures. This is their original art. This is Ninja Turtles, like 8-bit or 16-bit arcade style figurine sculptures, which are pretty cool. I actually pulled the Donatello, which is the one I wanted, so I'm glad I pulled it. This is Onk. He is an amazing creator. He works with every kind of person you can imagine. He does fashion and jewelry and things, consulting with like people like Steve Harvey, Nicki Minaj, you name it. He works on it. He's a genius and a very nice gentleman at that. This is a Rocketeer helmet, but in the motif of Louis Vuitton, which is kind of cool. I love the Rocketeer movie from the 1991, starring Bill Campbell, Jennifer Connelly, and Timothy Dalton. And that's that sneak peek. We've got probably a few hundred more photos that we'll be showcasing in the months and days to come. We also have a whole bunch of photos we're going to be dumping from the Shockfest Adventure Final Festival Exit Strategy. Got a beautiful interview as well with their director and media, Matt, and Gal, and everybody there was just so accommodating. It was a very, very fun event. If you've never been to a sci-fi fantasy film festival like that, I highly recommend checking out. That is their last year. 18 years was it for them. They are retiring the hat and going to be doing more things down the road. A lot of film projects and various things that are going to be going down in the pipeline. So we're going to be bringing in Timo and Eliza here shortly. I just wanted to go over some of the stuff we've been doing over. Oh, by the way, let's bring that back on the screen. We also went to the Atomic Museum. Walton Goggins was at the one in Cool Springs, so he didn't get to make the one in Vegas. However, we did get to talk to the director of the Atomic Museum in Las Vegas. Super cool gentleman. We'll like to bring him on the show soon. He's open to doing that. I wanted to show you all the Fallout video that we did right here. Let's replay that. It's a pretty cool video. This is an overview of the museum, a little sneak peek. So we got it here. Bring it up. This is the Fallout exhibit at the Atomic Museum in Las Vegas. The screening artifacts. Oh, it's boys. There's all the goodies with that. We'll stop sharing screen on that. We're back. We're here live and simulcasting on all channels. My name is Owen C. Carter. If you're just joining us, you're watching SciFiction. Simulcasting on X, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Subspace Radio Network. If you're not listening to Subspace Radio Network, I'm going to pitch them for a second. They are a amazing sci-fi media network put on by the Federation, trekfederation.com. If you go to donate, they do a lot of charity work as well as Subspace Radio Network. They have the award-winning Mark II 42 broadcast, SciFiction, you name it. Let me bring up their website real quick, actually. Show you a little bit what they're doing. This is Trek Federation. They do a lot of stuff with Star Trek, and we love Trek too. So let's bring that up here. Here it is. You get that. And this is the Trek Federation, International Federation of Trekkers, providing assistance during emergency. They resonate and was founded originally by Gene Roddenberry Sr. and Russ Hasledge back a long time ago, decades back. Do a lot of charity work. There's their donate button up top. If you want to donate for any of the charity, everything from hurricane relief, various charities, check that out. Down here, if you go all the way here where it says Subspace in caps with the big exclamation point, this is the page for Subspace Radio Network. Here's how to listen. You can listen on Alexa, Alexa Plus, Google Play Store, Apple streaming radio, desktop player. Here's the radio station. Here's their schedule. Now, schedule is Wednesday, okay? That's tomorrow. So if you go all the way down, this is East Coast time, by the way, all the way down to Wednesday. Let's see. Actually, yeah, Wednesday up to, hold on here. It's going up to, there it is. SciFiction Radio, 7 p.m. CST, 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you're on the East Coast, go to 8 p.m., 7 p.m. CST. We will be airing this not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday on Subspace Radio Network. So check that out. Also, it will go back into replay mode, I believe in the morning here at 11 a.m. Eastern to 12 p.m. noon, 10 a.m. CST to 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. So that's 2 showings there on the show. So if you want to listen to it in its entirety, this broadcast as an audio file featured on Subspace Radio Network with all the bells and whistles, or without the video bells and whistles, go to Subspace Radio Network, which is trekfederation.com/subspace on your desktop with the player, or go to Apple App Store, Google Play Play Store, Alexa, and Alexa Play. Just say Subspace Radio Network on whatever smart device you have. Thank you, Federation, for the awesome opportunity to be part of Subspace Radio Network. Here's some of the other shows they have featured, of course, SciFiction Radio, Mark Who 42, the award-winning Doctor Who podcast, also the travel guide to TARDIS Travel Guide, and a random Doctor Who podcast, Into the Paranormal, and there's a lot of others. So these are like the feature ones on there. So if you're not familiar with the Federation, go to the Federation's website, which is trekfederation.com, and check out Subspace Radio Network and all the cool work they do in the charity world and everything and beyond, because they do some amazing things, and I highly recommend checking that out. It's basically based on the roots, literally, of what Gene Roddenberry was trying to promote. And Russ had a call, and the conversation started with the question, what should be the ultimate Star Trek fan organization be? Roddenberry says, that was an easy one. I thought it took some guidance for Hassel to reach it, but do what the crew of the Enterprise does in every episode. Go places and help people. And this is the overall thing, that the growth, fulfilling the mission. They do a lot of charity, and it's the IDIC philosophy shows us that our differences are our strengths. When allowed to meld, those differences will allow mankind to do wondrous things, which I thought that was really cool. And I was very honored that they brought me on to the Subspace Radio Network. It's a really cool thing. Be part of the vision that Roddenberry had created so many years ago. Coming up on the 60th anniversary of Star Trek, by the way. 60 years of goodness and the Trek awesomeness. And we have a lot of fans that are fans of Star Trek, as well as Star Wars and Battlestar and everything else. Well, our good friend New York Pete, we got to hang out with this weekend. Him and his wife were at the Shockfest Adventure Festival in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. His film, The Tower Protocol Resurrection, won Best Sci-Fi Film. It's a good one. Francisco got through to the chat. He asked some questions for Timo and Liza. Let's see what questions he's got here. We got all kind of people pouring in here. I don't know if we'll be able to feature everybody's, but we'll definitely feature his because he's got a really good question here. 2 questions, actually, about sci-fi, it looks like. So we'll bring those up here on the broadcast, on Digital Goodies. And my name's Owen C. Cotter. If you're watching this, you're watching SciFiction across a lot of channels, and also Subspace Radio Network, which we're just showcasing. Subspace Radio Network is going to be airing next Wednesday, 7 p.m. CST, 8 p.m. Eastern, and we will be coming to you from several events coming up. January will be at the After Holidays at Fan Expo New Orleans. It's looking like 2 events in February. One we're waiting to get more details on. It's critical on that one that we go, and it does also scheduling, because times conflict sometimes, and we can't get the scheduling exactly right in everything we do, but we try and get it the best because we want to provide you, the fans, with awesome content for the fan base and beyond. Says that Timo and Liza are running a little bit late, but they will be right there before 10:30, which is technically 12:30 almost my time. So they will be here shortly. So stay tuned. We're going to bring on Timo and Liza to talk about this really super cool it almost has like a sci-fi, post-apocalyptic cyberpunk feel. It's really cool. We just showed the trailer early. If you're joining me, it's Owen C. Cotter on SciFiction. If you have not followed our socials, you can follow us here on Facebook at SciFiction.com, same on Insta, X and TikTok at just SciFiction, and YouTube. Trying to get more YouTube subscribers. This is an important one here. YouTube is at SciFiction Official, no dashes or underscores. And if you like to shop cool sci-fi merch, go to our Shopify. It's myshopify.com. We got all kinds of stuff. And if you want other things, message us, because we have access to pretty much any kind of thing you want in the pop culture realm, especially props, high-end, top-level lightsaber replicas, you name it. That's just the thought. For the holiday season coming up, for the loved ones, get some cool sci-fi swag and gifts. There you go. We also have some sci-fiction products there as well and things like that. One other thing before we start the broadcast I want to bring up. If you go, we just activated a new section on sci-fiction. If you go to the top upper right and go to sponsor, we are looking for more sponsors and advertisers. We have this is conservative numbers, 115,000 monthly visitors and 331,000. So our audience is 65.8% U.S. based with a core demographic of men age 25 to 44, sweet spot for all sci-fi pop culture. I'm not going to go on about pitching this as a salesman, but if you want premium real estate, there's the prices, sponsored articles, Facebook, branded posts, TikTok, sponsorship, yada, yada. So go to the page, click sponsor, and if you like it, go to contact and fill out your form here and go bloop, submit the form. We usually text within 24 hours or less. And of course, you don't need to open all hailing frequencies on all channels. Just simply fill out this form to establish a secure communication link with the bridge of Starship Awesomeness SciFiction. There's all kind of goodies. We're bringing you all kind of cool stuff for you, the fans. We've got the fans fuel the fleet, as IFB, our friends from Interfleet Broadcasting, always say. Also, TikTok. We're very proud to say we broke over 41,000. We thank you, the fans, for that, for breaking all the TikTok goodness. We have a lot of questions coming in for various people, it looks like. 3 from Francisco, 2 from John. I think there's 1 from, okay. And I've got a bunch of questions too, so that's always good as well, right? But joining us here shortly is Timo and Liza from Altered, the amazing sci-fi film that they're part of. Stars Tom Felton. If you're not familiar with Tom Felton, he's plays Draco Malfoy in Harry Potter franchise. Now he's the lead star in Altered. Altered's a cool project. I love the premise and the positive yet can't spoil it ending's cool as well. So in the middle and the beginning and everything else. SciFiction is I don't know if I've told anyone this. It's coming up on its 5th year of the first 5-year mission of after revamping, getting the site restructured, rebuilt, bigger, better, never, harder, better, faster, stronger, and all the sci-fi goodies that we have to offer on the digital awesomeness. SciFiction is a former, for people that don't know, I'll go to the about. I want to show some of this. I got some new about page. We got new about pages, a long spill about the history of site, but it was a formerly owned by the Sci-Fi Channel, by the way. It was their Hugo Nebula award-winning journal before Sci-Fi rebranded as SYFY to Sci-Fi Channel. Then after they were branded as Sci-Fi Channel, I acquired it. And our team has been working diligently over the last eons, but now this revamped version, this is our first new 5-year mission on the Starship SciFiction to bring you, the fans, quality content. Got me some water and some juice. We're booting up. Got the flux capacitor fluxing, the warp engines warping, and the hyperdrive fully functional. Going back to the front of the site, we're going to be doing some new parts and pieces. We activated about a year and a half ago the anime division. And the new section here, where is it here? It's video games. We have a lot of video gaming content. If you have not noticed, we have a ton of video game content, a ton of anime content too, and all kind of other content. So we've got probably 3-4 main writers. They just write about strictly anime. Some write about comics, some write about sci-fi, some write about video games, some write about movies, television, reviews, trending news, you name it. That's just, by the way, this is not the only bit of anime. If this is just, it only loads like a magazine, like 20 or 30 topics. If you go here, up here, and just click like this anime, they'll bring you to every single anime piece that's in the site. If you want to see more, here's the archives. The archives are here. Goes back, say you want July of 2022. So that's the first year we revamped the site. Of course, the platform's been going online. I've been doing this for almost 20 years. November 2025, here's 25. Zip, there's that. All trending topics for those months, and it goes into everything. Comic books, anime, news, sci-fi, television, more comic books, video games, anime, movies, you name it. And it's previous and got, there's more. See how it works. Goes on. So like a full-blown internet magazine. If you're not familiar how to run it, activate and kind of click around. That's how you do it, because it is kind of confusing on the mobile app, because of course everything's smaller on a phone. This is the desktop. It's bestly viewed on both. It's SEO optimized for both. If you notice, when you click the logo, see how fast that loads the site? Because we work diligently to get the site so optimized that it loads bleeding HD, warp speed, light speed, galactic speed fast. So that is the way, and that's how the cookie doesn't crumble. It loads fast. So those are those goodies. Waiting on Timo and Liza to join us here. My name is Owen C. Cott. If you're watching this, you're watching this across a lot of channels. X, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. We're going to be getting hopefully TikTok API installed once they get that bought by the US or whoever buys it or ports it in. And Subspace Radio Network. Got all kind of goodies going on. Got chat activated. Tons of goodies. So keep staying tuned for all the SciFiction awesomeness. If you have a question for Timo or Liza, based on the Altered movie or anything pertaining to sci-fi and anything they're doing, especially the movie Altered, please feel free to ask them questions. Timo has done a lot of stuff in sci-fi. Liza is a great actress. If you have not seen the film Altered, which will be coming out soon, I highly recommend checking it out. Her character is amazing, as well as Tom Felton's. Absolutely stunning presentation. Love the special effects, the setting, the premise. Absolutely amazing. Water is the final frontier. Well, that was more like Sequest with Rob Schneider. Rob Schneider's from another person altogether. Roy Schneider was the Brody in Jaws, as well as the Captain Nathan Bridger of the Sequest Deep Sea Vessel, DSV. Spielberg presentation. Great series. If you haven't checked that out, the first season or so was good. And it got pretty wild once Michael Irons. I love Michael Irons, but man, it got wild. It was a good story. It was a pretty cool story if you haven't checked that out. It's an older show from the 90s. So right around the time of like the first few seasons of like the X-Files and Sliders and all the goodies from the 90s, the gems of the 90s pop culture sci-fi goods. I was a big fan of Farscape. Farscape's really cool as well. I mean, there's all kind of goodies. Comic books are adapted into films sometimes too, and also television series. There's an article we posted recently about some of the comics that were adapted into TV shows that I didn't even know a couple of them were based on comics. These writers we have that are some of the best writers I've ever seen write these amazing pieces, and I'm just blown away by some of the stuff I didn't know. But you, the fans, may know, but I don't know sometimes. So I love always getting to experience new things and new questions that need to be answered, which is what the premise of science fiction is all about. What if? What premise could happen? What may happen? Imagine greater. Well, that's Sci-Fi Channel. So, I mean, seriously, imagine greater. Imagine the possibilities. Like Spock always said, there are always possibilities and beyond. And our slogan at SciFiction is envisioning a positive future through the lens of science fiction, fantasy, pop culture, horror, you name it. And that is that. On the Quantum Leap waiting room, in the back burner buffer is Timo. And we're going to wait for Liza to join us, but while we're waiting for her to join us, we are going to bring on Timo. Activating Timo. Greetings, sir. How is your afternoon or day going?
Oh, the day is going nice. It is already 8:30 over here, so the day is pretty much done over here. It's dark, it's miserable, but that's what you get when you live in Finland.
Finland, man. We're at 12:35 p.m. in
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. We're talking about. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Listen, we're talking about your film here, man. I got to preview it. I can't spoil it, of course, as it's not fully out on VOD yet and everything else and streaming. But it's absolutely amazing. Film. I mean, I was blown away by the premise and the positive ending and beginning and everything else. And can you a little bit about your background? It's not your first forte in the sci-fi. Can you go over a little bit about this film and kind of how you got into, just in general into the world of science fiction and directing and all that?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I started a long time, feels like forever ago. I did a film called Star Trek in the Beginning, which was a Star Trek parody, which we did with a bunch of friends for no budget in Finland, in my friend's mom's basement, basically. But we did it for 7 years, so that was my sort of first introduction into filmmaking. We didn't know anything about filmmaking, but back then. But then we learned as we did. And after that, a friend of mine suggested, why don't we do another movie and let's make that movie about Nazis on the dark side of the moon? And I was like, that is the craziest idea I've ever heard.
It's cool though. It's really cool though, man.
Yeah, but that's something that we've done, and basically that was the beginning of my sort of a career, and also career as a science fiction filmmaker. And then when we started to work on, when I started to, I finished this and that, and then I was starting to think about my next science fiction outing. This really, I started to think about like the world we live in, and try to sort of gather what are the bits and pieces that sort of ring true. And also bits and topics that haven't been necessarily beaten to death by other filmmakers at this point, like something that, what is the direction that we are really going into?
Right.
And that's something that really started to interest me. Is like, we are enhancing not just digital world around us, but also ourselves. And in the horizon, there is massive technological leaps ahead of us. And that is going to pose the main question, which the film asks, is like, if you're able to alter yourself as a human being, who is going to have the power to do that? And are you going to be willingly giving that power to them?
Right.
And what's going to be left of you if sort of others define what is the next stage of humanity? And that was something that interested me as a question. And then I started to really bring in the bits and bobs and pieces of
The film is set kind of like in a post-apocalyptic future that's been resurrected, kind of like almost like a cyberpunk as well, correct?
Yeah, it's I want to call it kind of biopunk in a sense that it's maybe more in a world where technology isn't so overpowering. It's more that there is a advancement in biology and that. But yeah, it's kind of a that world, which you could say cyberpunk, biopunk kind of a future.
Yeah. The impact of science fiction, our channel is predominantly sci-fi and beyond. We do everything from comic books, video games. What were some of your favorite like inspirations like from different sci-fi that may have kind of influenced your film Altered that is coming out?
I do always consider, I think I always go back into Blade Runner, basically with anything I do. I think that's my sort of the absolute rule book of how a good science fiction looks like, feels like, what's the atmosphere of the science fiction, how it deals with the issues and topics and everything. But in addition to that, I've also done, I've enjoyed, a ton of science fiction, from Star Trek to Star Wars to a smaller sort of more, not that well-known franchises and stories. But always, when I really start to think about it, I really come back to Blade Runner, and I think that everything in that movie, everything is just done so correctly and so right that it really ticks all the boxes for me.
Yeah, we actually, believe it or not, this show that we're doing right now will be aired on the Federation, which is created by Gene Roddenberry and Russ Haslidge's radio station, which will be on next Wednesday.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that is amazing. Well, that's another, obviously a huge influence, which I actually just found myself going back into Star Trek and starting to rewatch it. I don't know how many times.
We have a question. I think Liza just joined us in the other room here. Pertaining to Star Trek, Section 31? Have you any insight on that? I don't know if I don't think you work on Star Trek, but what are some of your thoughts on some of the new Star Trek series?
Of the new ones, I have to say that I'm a little bit behind in my
Me
knowledge.
too. There's so many. It's like the golden.
Yeah, there is a little, there's a few of them right now, and I do hear that some of them are really, really successful and good and whatever. But to me, it always comes back into the original series. It comes back into Deep Space Nine. I think Deep Space Nine resonates especially well with me.
Action packed too.
Yeah, and it's like it's just like very, very clever writing, and that's what I love about good science fiction, that you have very well written stories, thought through stories.
Liza's here joining us. Speaking of
Liza,
how you doing there, Liza?
can you hear? Oh, you can't hear. Uh-oh.
She's got her video. I think her audio is on my end's fine. I don't know if it's on her
Yeah.
end fine.
I don't know if you can hear us, Liza.
Can you hear us? She says she can hear us, I think, but I can't hear her.
Okay. Maybe you have to turn on the microphone.
Might be a mute button or something on there. Well, my end's good. Well, her role, by the way, in the film is absolutely incredible. How she parlays back and forth with Tom Felton's character. I want to see if she can get her audio going there. Let me put her on the back burner just for a second until she gets that fixed. The film is like it's like it pulls from a lot of universes, like you said, Blade Runner. It's got a little bit of hopeful, of course, aspirational. If you look at the ending, what is like the message from, like, you've got like the kind of super luxury level people to the people that are kind of poor, underclassed? What is the message you're trying to deliver to society? But also, how did you come about crafting that and the characters into that kind of a world?
I think, in the end, the message is very, very, very simple and beautiful and important. It is about the equality, but it is about the fact that no matter how far we advance as technologically or financially, or what kind of a rift there is between people, we're all in the in the end we are the same, and we need to be treated and respected as the same. And I think that is something that is the ultimate message of the movie, and that's obviously something that I enjoy very much being able to say to the world. So that's the
Liza's character Chloe. I don't know if you can hear us, or can you hear our audio? Is your audio working, Liza? She froze up there.
Oh yeah, there's a little bit of a connection
Let's
glitch.
talk about her character, Chloe. Her character is kind of like adopted by Tom Felton's character, I believe, correct? And how does that parlay, without giving too much away, into the storyline?
Well, it really is. The idea was that I sort of want to introduce this two people who are both coming into the world from a little bit of a different backgrounds, but they sort of found each other to be helping each other through living in quite a bad situation, if you will, in the world. And the Lizzie's character, I think, is the very beating heart, the very beating heart of the whole story, because she's the one who, she's not a cynical. She is full of fire. She's ready to fight. She's ready to go for it. She's ready to, there is nothing stopping her.
Mm-hmm.
And she drags Tom's character into this journey and forces him to find the strength from inside him. And I think that's that combination between these two characters, and also these two actors, this relationship that was built from the very, very early days on, when we when they met and came together in the same table and started the table reading and everything. I was like, this is I got it. Because sometimes you make a movie, you don't know if you get it until you see the first cut. You're like, oh yeah, I think I got it. But the moment I saw them two starting to interact with each other, starting to play on each other with the characters, and just creating, it's like, this is it. This is there. And that chemistry works through the whole film beautifully. And I was very, very and it was very important.
It does. And Tom Felton, it's kind of a unique role for him as well. He's kind of like almost like a superhero in this, and he's in a wheelchair, which is kind of interesting. When I saw the trailer, I'm like, wow, he's in a wheelchair, but he becomes a superhero almost.
Yeah, that's
It's cool.
It's like a unexpected superhero, which is something that I always find as a most interesting thing when we go into these superhero things. Is like the old cliche, but there is a super inside of us all if the conditions are right, and he really pulls his specialities. He's a very, very crafted, skilled guy to build things, but then he decides to turn it from his main source of income into his main way
like
to
mission. Right. Liza's on the back burner here. Let me see if I can bring her on here.
Let's try again.
Throttle here.
Hi, I'm so
There she is.
There you go.
I finally hear you. I'm here, and I'm so glad to be here.
No problem. We're happy to have you here on the show. Timo's here. Liza's here. We're all here. Happy family here on the Awesomeness. But we're talking about your character. Can you go and kind of like tell us a little bit how was that being in that role, and what did you enjoy most about that?
Oh, sure. I'm absolutely in love with my character. I love Chloe. I think that I feel her really well. She's pretty close to me. When I just read the script, I was immediately drawn to Chloe's fearlessness in expressing her opinions. I saw how much she cares for the people closest to her. Her loyalty and emotional intelligence really stood out, and I think that one of the most important characteristics of Chloe is her drive to make the world better, even in small ways. She never waits for permission to act. She sees a problem and she steps in. She's ready to solve it. And I think that proactive spirit is something I very much identify with. In many ways, Chloe and I share core traits like independence, determination, and a belief in using our intelligence to navigate challenges. And I feel like she is such an important person in this movie, and I was really glad I can gift her to this movie, and I can express myself through that character.
Yeah, her character is very positive. She's kind of got the upbeat, aspirational, helps motivate Tom into becoming almost like a superhero, like me and Timo were talking about. Just curious, you being an actress and in film, is this your first forte in sci-fi? And if so, what did you take from being a part of all the sci-fi awesomeness and cyberpunk and futuristic goodness?
It surely is my first sci-fi film, and I'm so glad that Altered became my first sci-fi project. I absolutely love the genre. When I was younger, I loved to read books and works of famous Russian science fiction writers such as Alexander Belyaev and Kir Puluchev and world famous Isaac Asimov. And I also love the classic movies from the sci-fi genre like Avatar, The Fifth Element, Gattaca, and all of those movies and all of those works and books have helped me dive into the sci-fi world. And also because our crew was so supportive, it was easier for me to immerse myself in the sci-fi world. And thanks for Timo for creating this reality in Altered. It's been truly an extraordinary journey and adventure for me.
So, Timo, I really love this film. It's different from a lot of sci-fi. It's got a different motif. Curious on the visual style of it. How did y'all go about your kind of design? It has like a flower in it. It has like a power to it. And so how did y'all go about incorporating that aspect? Of course, it deals with, I think, the post-apocalyptic factor. But how did you go into collecting that and then plugging that topic into the way it kind of develops into the formality of the visual effects and all that?
Well, I think that's a good question, and there's because the thing is, like, when I start this world building, I like to go down these very weird rabbit holes. One of the rabbit holes took me into sunflowers, and I started to read about sunflowers, and it
My
turns
wife's
out
favorite flower, by the way.
yeah, and it turns out what I didn't know, that they absorb small amounts of radioactivity from the environment as a and they are sort of able to use that, absorb that. And I thought that was like, that's very interesting. What if, what if there was a plant that could actually, work as a power source in this world? And that sort of opened up a door where this whole sort of biopunk world really started to come together, because I knew I want to talk about the genetic alterations and all that, but then to really bring also the nature into the picture and remind us that we are part of the nature just as much as we are a construct of our history and technology and whatever we do to us. We are always part of the nature. And with these things, when they click together, I was like, okay, that's a very interesting world. But yeah, it all kind of started from just one of those things that you start to research and read about. It's like, hold on a minute, there's something about that.
We've got some questions, several questions coming. There's a few, I don't know if you can mention, so we're mostly focusing on Altered. There's one question about Iron Sky. Of course, you went over the Star Trek. Can you talk for maybe 1 minute about Iron Sky? Here's one of the questions. There have been past reports of a future Iron Sky installment in the past. Can you tell me where things currently stand for that franchise? Then we'll go more on to Altered.
Right. So Iron Sky franchise itself is done and dealt with, but we are moving into a really crazy new world with which comes from a very, very same vein. It's called Deep Red, and you can check out more about that on our website, deepredfilm.com. But yeah, that's a kind of a world that we are developing next as
very cool.
And that was
cool. Can you go into like a micron cliff note about the topic of that, or is that kind of a top secret?
It's communists on Mars.
Okay, that's awesome. So it's like the flip of the coin a little bit more to the
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a red planet and all that. I mean, yeah, but it's a satirical science fiction comedy which we are building on. So that's something interesting.
That's super. That's interesting. I'm gonna check that one out. It's like Martian. Matt Damon goes to Mars, and it's full of communists. That's awesome.
There we go. Yeah,
That's really cool. Yeah. Well, the film Altered, talking about, it's going to be out soon on, I believe, streaming or VOD. Can you talk about like when is that going to be out? Where can we find the film once it's out for everybody?
Yeah, so the film it's Altered is going to be now out on 21st of this month, which is Thursday, Friday, and then it'll be in select theaters, which you're gonna have to find exactly where, and then it's gonna be on digital, available on digital distribution. So both of those things are gonna happen around at the same time, and that's how we're gonna kick it off into the world, into the wild.
Into the world of Altered, the biopunk goodness. Wrapping up, I want to ask each one of you, starting with Liza. You talked about your passion for science fiction and literature. If you had to sum up your character in a sentence of like what inspires her to, and the message that your character delivers to the fan base, what would you like to say on those words?
I don't know. That's a tough question. Could you please repeat so that I could get into it more?
What's your character when you portraying Chloe? What it is that you like that the fans may enjoy based on your character?
I think that the main thing that will get the audience attracted to Chloe is how she's not scared to show her emotions. I think that, personally, I love that about her, and I think that she is a ray of light in the movie, and I really hope that the audience is gonna understand that and perceive her in this way.
Speaking of a ray of light, it's the last question for Timo. The character we talked earlier in the broadcast about Tom Felton's character is actually paralyzed in a wheelchair. If you had to sum up, would you say this film may resonate on the kind of like each person has a gift, and since he's disabled, and you kind of like you said the ray of light, does it kind of portray and the fact almost give hope to people that whether you're neurodivergent or paralyzed or whatever have a gift that they still can give to the world, and through this film portrays that, or what is that kind of like a deliverance?
I think our true core of power, or our true like force of power is really that's over here, and then when we decide to set our abilities into bettering the world, there are ways. And there is a lot of strength and a lot of power in just the willpower that we can muster from there. And there is nothing stopping us as humans. And I think that's one of the things that this film wants to sort of is like, once the fire is set in there, we can change the world. We can to make the world a better place, and we can show that the immense amounts of strength that we have within
one person can make a difference, or a group of people. And I think your film, without spoiling it, wraps that up perfectly in a package that is very palatable and very fun to watch too. One little side question before we wrap: the music. Who composed the music, and how did you go about getting that kind of tone of music in the film?
Right, it's a composer called Ryan Otter, and he jumped on it. I think I sort of gave him general guidelines on which direction. I have a little bit of a problem with the music because I become too micromanaging that, because I'm a kind of like to do music myself, although it's not very good, but it doesn't matter. But I'm like a little bit of a micromanager. So instead, I stayed a little bit back and allowed him to feel what the world would be. So I'm saying that I really, really, really like Blade Runner soundtrack, right? And
Vangelis, man, that sounds. The new one was Hans Zimmer or something.
Zimmer, yes, Zimmer. Especially Zimmer is fantastic, of course, but especially the Vangelis one always is something that I.
Did you see the F1 race soundtrack that Zimmer did? That was
which one?
The F1 race movie with Brad Pitt. The soundtrack.
Yes, he did that. Yeah, he did that, and I think and Dune and all that. So Zimmer is great, but with that Vangelis soundtrack, I remember when I was writing this, I was listening to it on a repeat.
Yeah, so like Tears in Rain, which is actually I saw famous. artwork that it was a well-known artist like Swag or something. It was over at Designer Con this weekend. It was the most beautiful piece of Blade Runner art I've ever seen. I want to get it. It's $1,100, but I didn't get the, it was too big to fit in my suitcase. So I definitely need to get that for the backdrop back here, man.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my only sort of actual guideline. It's like I really like what Vangelis did with that, and he tapped into that, but also modernized it, made it into this world fit. And then, of course, when we were working on it, he understood the sequences. And sometimes you say, okay, this is actually, let's do a little bit this. I want to focus on this emotion and that, and then they are just
almost got like in your film as well, like a noir cyberpunk vibe, but more mellowed in the music, but also ramped up with the action and the storytelling. I would like to thank both of you, Timo and Liza, for joining this broadcast. I really appreciate that. You as well, Altered, and Tom as well, if he's watching or gets to see this, and Katie for setting all this up for everybody, being the wizard behind the scenes. My name is Owen C. Cotter. You're joining us on SciFiction. If you're listening on Subspace Radio Network, it has been an absolute pleasure talking with both of you today and this afternoon. And of course, it's the evening where you're at, Timo.
Yeah, it's quite late in the evening, but hey, it's fine. I'm a night owl; doesn't matter anyway.
Oh, me too, man. Me too. Well, thank y'all so much. I hope y'all both have a beautiful evening or beautiful day wherever you're at, and same to you, the fans. My name is Owen C. Cotter. Thank you for joining SciFiction. Y'all have a beautiful day.
Thank you very much. Thank you.